I had to get a new washer finally. This is a portable washer. This is a Giantek. It's 26 and a half wide, 16 and a half deep. So it fits in. This is a pretty small shower stall. It fits in here no problem. So it'll do 18 pounds wash and 8 pounds of spin. So usually if you do a full wash load, you have to do 2 spins, so you put half the load in, spin it. It's fine. It spins for 5 minutes. Everything is pretty much as dry as it's gonna get in 2 minutes, so that's what I do. This is the old one. That's a Bankson. It's a little bit smaller. Actually, it's quite a bit smaller. I think that's 17 pounds total. So I could do 1 dog blanket at a time in that one, and I think in this one I could probably do 2 in here, or at least that and a throw blanket or something smaller. But I beat the snot out of this thing. I've had it for over 3 years, maybe close to 3.5 years, and I've done all kinds of dog laundry out of that thing, plus my own laundry. I'm using it every day, multiple times, and in order for anything to fit in the spinner on that Bankson, I had to like this blanket here, I had to shove it, like push it down and shove the plastic thing in there so it doesn't pop up. And it pushes this around, and I thought that's probably going to give out, but it took 3.5 years. That is what gave out. It still washes, and it will spin. It'll kind of spin slow, and if I start shaking it, it'll speed up, but it's shot. So I'm hoping, we get another 3 years out of this. Those you can get for $129, I believe, on Amazon. And if you're a single person, it's great. You don't have to go to the laundromat. And this one I got for $189. The difference with this one is this one has a pump. So that one's a gravity drain. So the machine has to be higher than the drain. So I put it inside, either at my old place in the bathtub or in the shower stall. There's an overflow in both of them, right there. So if the bin gets too full, it'll start to overflow out of there. So I fill it with the shower, and they give you those skinny little hoses. I don't trust them. That you're supposed to hook it up to the sink, and you'd come in here to find water spraying everywhere. So I just use the shower, and if I leave it running and walk away and it gets too full, it'll just go out the drain. So that has, that's awesome, because if you had to have it out here like on the floor, it would cause damage. And so I am gonna try 2 blankets, see how that goes. I'll still only be able to spin one at a time, but this one has an 8-pound spin capacity, and the other one I think has 5. So it has this drain hose clip thing on the side here, right? You could clip it up and hold it there. My old one had a little hook, and you would hook the hose up, right? And so whatever you do, when you're filling this up, make sure that the drain is closed, right? And that this is down. Don't leave it hanging up. I'm not even going to use that, because I'm just going to keep it down low. Because what I did with the old one, this is how it totally got ruined. So I filled it up. I left the drain open by accident, and I didn't unhook this part and have it down low on the floor, because it's gravity drain, right? It has to be low. So the tub filled up, right? This tub filled up, and when it started to drain out, it has to fill all the way up to here. But at the same time, this bin was also filling up. So it was taking a long time for the water to go up, and it never reached the overflow drain. It never got deep enough to reach the overflow drain that's in it. And being that the whole machine was completely filled with water, it totally ruined the brakes on that, and it didn't, it started to run funny afterwards. And even the motor and this, it started to slip more and just, you know, wasn't as powerful. Totally ruined it. It still worked for like another 6 months. You know, now it's just the spinner won't work really hardly. But other than that, you know, I mean, just don't fill it up with the drain open, and this, you know, make sure that the drain's closed and that that's on the floor, so that even if you accidentally left the drain open, you know what I mean, or closed even, you know, it's gonna go right out onto the bathroom shower stall. Okay, so this has reached the overflow. It's full. You can hear it running out. So, on my old one, like how full can you use these? So I would often, you know, walk away and kind of let it do its thing, and I would come back and it's, you know, over full and it's going out the overflow. So I would just drain it down a couple inches. That's probably good, because as it spins, the water is going to go up on the side walls, and a lot of it's going to go out the drain anyways. You could run it, you know, I could have just run it completely full, but a lot of the water is just going to wash out that hole anyways. So I just go down a couple inches and it'll be good. Okay, so we got our 2 blankets in there. Which is, if I did one blanket in the other machine, if I just did one blanket in the other machine, a lot of times it wouldn't really turn much and the water would churn, but usually eventually it finds its shape and then it starts to spin much better. I'm assuming this will do the same thing, but this is 2 blankets and that's actually spinning pretty good, even though it's a little bit slow right now. It tends to find its shape and then it starts to turn better. You can see it pick up speed, at least in that direction. Here's the specs. You can pause it, check them out. So I was a little curious if because of the pump it would fill up the basin too much. But it seems fine. You know, after a couple of loads, sometimes the drain will get, you know, lint or hair and stuff in it. So I gotta clean it out, but yeah, that's not too bad. Actually, I think because of the pump, I should actually be able to take that out of there as long as the hose doesn't move and it stays in the basin. I can just run the hose to the drain there. But then the shower hose is only so long. Actually, so I have this hose, and I got an adapter so it can hook onto this, right? And actually the water comes out of the hose so much quicker. So I think I'm gonna get a splitter for up here. It'll have valves on both outlets, so you can turn the water on or off for either one. And that way I don't have to keep disconnecting this when I want the hose. I use the hose to fill up the dog pool and, you know, water the grass. I got seeds to germinate, whatever I need a hose for outside. I'm on, it's the 3rd floor, but it's a commercial building, so technically it's like 4 flights of stairs. And I run the hose out the window and outside, and I can use it outside. But I think, yeah, if I get the splitter, I could just get like a bit of hose, a 6-foot hose or something like that, you know. That way I can use it to fill this. I should have no problem keeping it outside. If it overflows and comes out the drain hose, that shouldn't be an issue as long as the hose doesn't move. And it's 5 feet, so it should be, what am I putting that in there for? It should be plenty long enough. So what I just noticed, these are the controls. So you got the timer that times the wash tub cycle, and then you have another timer over here, and that times the spin cycle. Like I said before, it goes up to 5 minutes, but pretty much everything's going to be dry after 2 minutes. Running it for the other 3 minutes doesn't really seem to do much. It has normal and gentle wash cycle, and then the drain to the right. So once you turn the drain to the right, the drain pump kicks on and the drain opens and the water starts to come out. What I did notice is the other machine, the Bankston one, it has a 35-minute wash cycle. This one only goes up to 15. So if I want to do a longer wash cycle, I'll have to do it manually, which is fine. It did 2 blankets. I am going to run a second wash cycle and then a rinse because these are pretty extra dirty. And I'm probably not going to do 2 of these bigger blankets normally. I just wanted to see if it would handle it. I could do a bigger blanket in a smaller throw, no problem, and it'll spin better and get cleaner. So, but for for it being able to handle this, I know now I can also use bigger blankets. Like I have a quilt and I could not wash it in the other one, and then I have another like queen size blanket I could not fit in that one, and I should have no problem in here. Should have no problem, and the spin should be big enough. So that's good. Do you ever have something that just, it's kind of randomly weird, but it just makes you happy, and it's continued to make me happy? It's that stupid thing right there, right? So I was living in the sticks. I was like 40 miles away from the nearest laundromat. And a couple years ago, of course, gas prices were much higher. But it was 40 minutes through just back windy roads, up and down hills, and there was nothing pretty much but woods until you got to, you know, civilization where the laundromat was. And so that's, you know, over an hour and a half of driving to go to the laundromat. There's the gas, right? The wear and tear of my car, and then the cost of doing laundry at the laundromat, which is, you know, at least $20 or more per trip, and then the time you just spend just sitting there, you know. So it was a huge project. Then you gotta haul everything in and out of the house, your dirty laundry, your clean laundry, all your soaps, whatever. These are cheaper now. Those, that Bankson, that's $129 now. It was $159 when I got it. So the price actually went down on that. But even still, that thing paid for itself in the span of 3 laundromat trips easily, and then it's continued to pay for itself ever since. And you know, just knowing that I had that, because I never knew these things existed, you know. My old place, there was no laundry hookups, and they didn't want to allow laundry hookups. And I thought, hey, I wonder if they have like a small, you know, portable type machine. And I looked it up and I found these things, you know, and they work pretty good, you know. They're not like a, you know, as good as a normal washing machine, but they're pretty damn good, you know what I mean? You don't have to spend all that money, you know, and waste all your time. It's such a huge difference in just, you know, having that, knowing that I can do that. If I had to go here up and down these stairs with all these dog blankets and, you know, my personal stuff and whatever else, right? It would take forever. You know, all the trips up and down the stairs, coming and going, and probably closer to a laundromat now, so I wouldn't have to go as far. But still, it's, you know, you don't want to sit around in those places. You know, people all kind of keep to themselves, and it's awkward and weird, you know. But this is great. So I'm going to do one more wash cycle and then a rinse cycle. Second wash cycle. Rinse is done. Now I'm going to test out the spinner. That's a much better fit. Much better. Let's do Hickey. This. Starts out a little wobbly, but it works itself out. It quiets down after all the water stops spraying. It starts to quiet down more. And that worked good. It fit in there pretty good, and yeah, I could definitely even get slightly larger blankets because I could push it down a little bit more, you know. Nice. Got the drying rack over here, and you know, the fan going. In the winter with the heat on, it's pretty dry, so everything dries quick. Everything dries quick in the summer as long as it's not super humid, but yeah, 24 hours at the most, as long as the air is moving. And once the blankets have spun, this will probably be dry within an hour. Some of those, like those lighter throws like that one, they'll be dry in about 20 minutes, you know, once you hang them up. They feel pretty dry even when you take them out of the spinner. So the spinner works really good. So here's the regular laundry cycle. I have 2 pairs of jeans in there, 3 t-shirts, and a hoodie. So it's a pretty good sized load. You know, I could never fit that amount. I could fit, when it was new and it was working well, I could fit one outfit, like one winter outfit, so that would be like jeans, a shirt, and a hoodie, and you know, underwear or whatever. Winter jacket, I would have to do it by itself, which probably I still would in this, because it's pretty heavy, like canvas jacket. But the winter jacket, I could barely fit in the old spinner. But this is going to save me a lot of time, so that's good. Very good. And for that amount of clothes, I could probably get a little bit more in there. But for that amount of clothes, it's churning pretty good, you know.